Have you ever looked at those old photos of Clad in Rose? Or even the old school golden era of bodybuilding and be like, wait a second, how the hell do they look this good? They had no steroids, they had no internet, they had no fancy gym, and yet they look better than 99% of the people in the gym today. And it's kind of weird, right? Because we got all the data, we got all the information, but somehow we look worse. And on this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why that is. But first of all, think about this. If I walked in the gym in the 1960s compared to now, what exactly would you see? Now, I want you to hold that picture in your head because you're gonna need it later on in this video. Before we dive in, on this channel, I help skinny men build muscle and boost their confidence without no bias, no nonsense approach. Just trying to simplify everything when it comes to building muscle and getting in shape. Now, if you look at the snapshot that I mentioned, back then in the old school area, they were full of jack guys in the gym who were not bloated, who were not abusing steroids, who were actually in set, shredded, and they look like someone who lifts weight. But today, if you walk into the gym, you either see some guys who are abusing steroids to the point that you can see all the side effects, whether that is bloating, gynos, acne, or even hair loss. And the other group of these men are the ones that has been training for years in the gym. And for whatever reason, they still look the same and they're not making any progress. Even after lifting for years, they still look exactly the same. And this is the part that actually hit me. In the old school era, they barely have any information. They had no data and they had no fancy equipment. Most of their gyms was actually trash. And yet, with all of that, they were still able to build an impressive physique to the point that today we still admire them. So the question is, what did they do right that we have completely lost today? I used to think the same way most guys do now. I was always chasing for the perfect program, constantly changing my workout routine, and I was watching ton of these fancy influencers that barely give you the answer that you want. And I thought to myself, maybe the problem is not knowing enough. I think the problem is knowing way too much. And that's when I started studying Clyden Ross, Robbie Robinson, Mike Mensa, and also Dorian Yates. And that's when I realized the truth. All these old school bodybuilders that I just mentioned, they all keep their workout very simple. They train really hard. Their recovery is always on point. And most importantly, they always stick to one program for a very long time before they change anything. And that's how they were able to make progress over and over again without following any fancy exercise like this science-based lifting. I know I mentioned a lot of science-based lifting because I actually hate it. So basically, that's it. Most of those school bodybuilders like Klein and Ross, they were not overcomplicating anything. They were not overly obsessed over supplements. No one was debating about what is the most optimal training. They just had pure consistency and they simplified everything. And once I went back to this, my results exploded. So here's how those guys train and how you can apply that to your workout routine so that you can actually start to look like most of those old school bodybuilders. Number one, you have to prioritize your upper chest. If you have a look at these old school bodybuilders, they probably have the best upper chest that I have ever seen before. Nowadays, none of us have upper chest compared to them. Have you seen Arnold chest and Frank Colombo chest? It's insane. The upper chest is absolutely out of this world. Nowadays, you will never see an upper chest like that. And that's because that's a body part that we don't prioritize that much compared to the old school era. So these are the exercises that you're going to apply to bring up your upper chest. So you're going to do your incline chest press with the barbells or dumbbells or even machines. Basically, that's it. But make sure you stick with one long enough to master that technique so that you are able to progress over time effectively. And then let's say 6 months to even 8 months down the line, if you want, you can change it to a different exercise so that you can start to have different stimulus. And number two is to build a wider shoulders. If you really want to achieve that V-taper look that every man wants, you have to train your shoulders because that's what's going to give you that V-taper look that most of these old school bodybuilders have. If you want a wide shoulders, there's no doubt you have to train your lateral raises. You can either do this with dumbbells or you can also do this with cables. I think these are the two main options if you're trying to bring up your side delts. But the same thing applies. Make sure you always stick with one. In that way, you're able to track it because if you start to mix them up every single week, guess what? You're going to find it really hard to track. And if you're not tracking, you're not making any progress. Number three is your back. As we all know, the V-taper always comes from the back. So, two exercises that you need to do if you want to get that wide back: lat pull down and pull up. So when it comes to the pulled up, you want to get stronger over time and you want to start using weight. So basically weighted pull-ups. However, if you struggle with doing pull-ups, just focus on doing the lat pull down. That will get it done. The same thing apply. Make sure you only focus on one. Every 6 to 8 months or even a year, you can start to switch things around. And the fourth one is your leg. So when it comes to building your legs, you want to have a strong, defined legs. You don't want your legs to be so huge to the point that you can barely walk. You want to be more athletic as well. You should be able to run. You should be able to sprint. You should be able to climb the stairs without getting out of breath. That's the whole purpose of training your legs. But nowadays, if you look at these bodybuilders, these dudes, they can barely walk. Most of them look disabled. They look disabled, like they could barely walk without getting out of breath. So that's something that you shouldn't be looking for. Always train your legs to get stronger, to be more defined, and also to be more athletic. And that's exactly what the old school bodybuilders did. And number 5, probably the most important one, keep your volume low and keep your intensity high. If you really want to build muscle as fast as possible, this is going to be the best approach. Instead of going to the gym and just chasing for the pump, try to get as much pump as you want. That's not how you're going to build muscle. And I made this mistake earlier in my fitness journey. I was doing a lot of drop sets, supersets, giant sets, thinking that the more pump I get, the faster I'm going to build muscle. But guess what? I barely made any progress. But as soon as I changed my approach to this old school training style, everything changes and my results exploded. And that's why those old school bodybuilders have this timeless physique, like Clyde Ross. He died when he was 84, but guess what? Till this day, people admired his physique. And that's because they were able to build their body with a timeless principle. So which are simplicity, consistency, and discipline. None of them were chasing any trend. All they care about is to get results. And honestly, this is what I follow till this day. And probably this is the type of training and mindset that I will do forever. So here's what I want you to take away. You don't need more knowledge when it comes to building muscle. You just need fewer options. The old school lifters prove that less is more. And I've been preaching that on my channel forever. And if you apply that mindset, you will build a physique that will last forever. Now guys, this is the end of the video and I hope you guys gain a lot of value from this. And if you want a one-to-one coaching with me, I'll put a link in the description. Click on the link, book a one-to-one call with me, and I will see how I can help. For the meantime, I will see you in the next video.